Ahoy there, mates. Welcome aboard the VHS pirate ship. I'm Captain Adam, and a very Merry Christmas to all of you out there, and welcome to Captain Adam's Show and Tell. Today we're going to do something a little different. As you know, I typically just show off certain things in my VHS collection, but I also collect other things as well, and this will prove to be the first in the series which I'm calling the Captain Adam Show and Tell Book Nook, where I highlight some of the books I have in my collection, because I do collect some books. Books, after all, were the original VHS, so books are very important. And today, in keeping with the Christmas spirit, I'm going to be showing off The Night Before Christmas, a living storybook, a book that I've had since I was a very young child. Always been fascinated with this book because the Living Storybook series was a publication of books that highlighted children's fairy tales, certain children's stories, and they would put these little model shots, these little dioramas almost. It's almost like stop motion without the motion, and I was just always fascinated by these. And this one is The Night Before Christmas, which was published in 1963, and I've had this for a very long time. In fact, my family had this before I did. It's in pretty rough shape, but it still gets the point across. And what's interesting about this is this isn't paper. It's like some kind of corrugated cardboard material, very, very sturdy. So it's not paper, but this is just a fascinating book because of all the models in it. So today we're going to be just looking at it because it is just really neat. This won't take very long. It's a very, very short poem. The Night Before Christmas, which was first published in 1823 by Clement Clark Moore, and its title really is A Visit from St. Nicholas, but it just got unofficially referred to as The Night Before Christmas, or 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, so it got its own little subtitle. So yes, of course, this is arguably, perhaps the most famous poem in all of human history, really. I mean, everybody knows this poem, and it's got to be at least on the top 5 most famous poems of all time. So yes, and most famous for giving us the depiction of Santa Claus as we know him today. But what is interesting about that is this poem refers to Santa Claus, or St. Nicholas, as a right jolly old elf, making it really the only reference to Santa Claus that has him as an elf, or like an elf-like creature, at least to my knowledge. And it also refers to the reindeer as 8 tiny reindeer, and of course the miniature sleigh, so which gives Santa Claus even more mysticism to add to the Santa Claus mythos, if indeed it is a mythos. So that's always very interesting about this poem, because there really isn't any other depiction of Santa Claus that shows him like as an elf. He's usually just shown as a man, with mystic and magical powers, of course. So yeah, I always found that rather fascinating. Of course, the poem itself just did a lot for just Christmas imagery. So that's why it's so highly regarded, because it just really changed the Christmas game, as it were. So anyways, today I'm going to be reciting from this very book. So snuggle up, and I'm going to crank up the Yule log here, and just sit back and enjoy the night before Christmas, or rather, a visit from St. Nicholas. So yes, enjoy, and a Merry Christmas to all of you out there. Here we go. The Night Before Christmas, a visit from St. Nicholas, by Clement Clark Moore, recited by Captain Adam. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mamma in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap, when out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him, in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew, like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."